Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. And I have a cold today. I was trying so hard not to cough when that screen that you first see with the Stamp Your Art Out with Rachel comes across. I clicked it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to cough. I have a small cold. Hopefully we're just fine here. We've got one child at home sick, and we've got testing done, strep test, all of that stuff. So we'll see. But I think it's just a cold because it doesn't sound like anything else. So bear with me if you hear me coughing along the way, and excuse that. I have the energy for this, and I'm so excited, as always, to share a new paper crafting idea with you that I've come up with. It is Wednesday, April 14th, 2011, or 2011. It's 11 a.m. It's 2021 as I'm broadcasting to you live, 11 a.m. Central Time, and I am from Andover, Minnesota. So if you have trouble figuring out when I go live, it's always 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, Central Time. So just, go on your computer and do try to figure out, just put in 11 a.m. Central Time to whatever time zone you're in. I know a lot of people are still struggling with that, but I try to keep it every Wednesday at 11. Anyways, welcome. Trisha, welcome to you too. She is my moderator who is there to help us out. You'll see her name. It stands out a little bit because it's got the wrench symbol next to it. You can see it clearly. So if you are live with us as I am broadcasting, you can ask her questions and that sort of thing. She's going to help us out. She's also going to draw a couple winners at the end of this live. So if you do leave a comment during the live, you'll get entered into that drawing for a prize. Yay! If you're watching after the live, please comment in the other section. There's like a comment section below, and that will get you entered into a separate prize drawing. I can respond to comments in the after live comments, but I can't respond after I'm done with this in the live comments. So that's another reason why Trisha is here for me to help us out with that too. So I'm seeing familiar names scroll across though, and it's so nice to see your well wishes and your good mornings and telling me where you're from. Yeah, you know what? It's so funny. You guys get to know us so well. If it's not a broken finger or a broken knee or broken toe or a tumor in the ear or whatever, there's always something going on, right? We all have something, but we're all doing okay right now. Some of you had asked about my husband last time in last week's video. We're kind of in this mode of just coping. The surgery cannot happen until the end of August, beginning of September, and that is for his acoustic neuroma in his ear. So we're going to be fine though, and your well wishes are greatly appreciated. This is just a cold. We'll get through it. Okay, done with that. Sorry it took so long to get through all of that. We're going to share a pop and flip card. Now, a couple cards were gifted to me. Here they are. A couple cards were gifted to me from teammates and fellow demonstrators, and I'm going to show you those. They were gifted to me with the same kind of fold. And I said, oh my gosh, I love that. And they said they got the idea from Don Griffith. So thank you, Don Griffith, for inspiring my friends to make some cool cards. And on that note, I wanted to share my vertical version of it. So I've got one where it's flipped, like this is horizontal. I've got like the portrait or longer version for you today. And I want to share some tips with you. So if you hadn't seen Don's card yet, you'll want to check that out. I should put the link in the description. I haven't done that yet. I should do that. Anyways, I'm going to do it with some new products that are going to debut in the upcoming annual catalog. Beauty of the, what is it called? Beauty of the Earth Suite is what I'm going to introduce to you. So on that note, let's go to comments from last week. Let me pull up that, and then we will check out what you guys had to say last week. It's always fun to see people who are new for the first time chiming in. I love hearing where you're from. We have people from all over the place. Brina, it was good to see you hop on. I love how Beth said smash that like button. And Deborah, holy cow, thank you. She says she hasn't missed one in over a year. I bow down to you. That's hard to keep up with that. That's impressive. Priscilla we're coming to see your beautiful state in just a few weeks. A lot of us Stampin' Up! Trip Achievers are coming to Maui. So it was good to see your name pop up. And Susan from up north Minnesota, that's what we say here in Minnesota. If we're going up north, we call it up north. You live in the area where my parents live. Okay, and then let me go to the right here. Joan asked if a circle punch could be used for the card last week. So I'm going to show you a tip that I discovered. Thank you for pointing or posting your questions so I could kind of experiment with that. A lot of you love the card. I love Nancy's comment on that. And then some of you had even suggested different kinds of flowers. You've even been sharing with me either via social media like Facebook Messenger or Facebook posts, or you've emailed me your ideas. I love seeing what you've come up with, different versions of the cards that I've shared. So perhaps poinsettias or clovers. And then I love it. Some of you were talking about your love for cactuses, cacti, which actually I looked up and it could be said either way. But you like the fruit. I didn't know there was fruit. Yes, so cool. So you guys are teaching me a lot. Okay, this is the new annual catalog. It debuts May 4th, and that's when we can open it up and share it with you. That's when you can see the inside of it online, or you can see the online digital version of it. That will be available to everybody then. If you do not have this version, you'll want to reach out to your demonstrator or myself if you do not have a demonstrator or you're not a demonstrator yourself, and let us know if you need a copy. What else do I want to? Oh, and then the cards. I was going to share that with you too before I introduce the suite to you. So these are the cards that were gifted to me. This one by, actually, she is not on my team. Sorry about that. Carol Sklenar, I think is how you say your name. I think I want to peek it here. I think it was a thank you for a prize. I think so. Anyways, look at this. This is so cool. So and I think this is the same look that Dawn's card had. It was with the butterfly Brilliance products that were early release products. Isn't that so pretty? So cool. And do you see how it kind of flips down? So you pop it open and it flips down. It angles back and forth. So I'm going to teach you that little trick there. And this one was made by Carol Garrison, a fellow demonstrator in my group. She's a sister demonstrator of mine. So, and that's how she did hers with the sand and sea suite. So it opens and it flips this way. Isn't that cool? All right, so let's look at the suite that I'm going to introduce to you. I've only got 3 parts to it. It does have 4 parts. It's got a set of dies, it's got a stamp set, and it's got designer paper. So this is the stamp set. It's called Beauty of Friendship. The suite is called Beauty of the Earth. I believe I'm getting that right. Let me peek here. Yes, Beauty of the Earth. And you can see it's got that multi-tone effect to it, so it looks very 3D-ish, and it's even like a 2-step within. So you stamp this and then you stamp this on top, and you get like a 3-toned tree top. This one could be used separately as like an evergreen tree, a pine tree type thing. This one could be put on top of here, but this one could also be put on top of there. So it depends on how you want to layer things. Lots of different sentiments in it. And then you could use this as snow or dirt. It's just like a little splatter image. Very, very fun. Oh, and I was going to show you, that's why I kept the comments up here. Joan, I was going to answer Joan's question. I'm going to pull that in right now so I remember. Snowman punch. Okay. That will remind me that I need to address that. Okay, and these are the dies, the beautiful trees dies that coordinate with the stamp set. This one and this one, and this one will die cut the tree images. And so those are called framelits because they do the frame. And then you got these 2 here that will work with the smaller words. It looks like this one would fit inside here, but these aren't always true to size because they want to fit all the images on the top. So if you open it up, the stamps are slightly larger. And do you see this? This is a new thing that Stampin' Up! Is now doing with their photopolymer stamp sets. They have the image on the actual inside of the case lining. And then you can just take and separate your stamp sheet like this, and you can apply these to the inside Notice I haven't stamped with these yet. You can just apply these to the inside of your box. So just kind of just a different way of storing them, so you don't have a loose thing that could fall out of your case. They're all stuck within the case this way, right? So I will transfer the rest of those later. And then you could take one of these sheets and just put it over the top if you want to, but you wouldn't necessarily have to. So again, back to the dies. Then you've got this die here, which will cut out a separate tree. It looked kind of strange to me when I saw this, but I believe that that is just there to kind of protect the metal of the die and make sure that things don't get bent into weird directions, because that does not get die cut. Only the tree outline gets die cut. Okay, then you've got this outline here, which you could die cut from your designer paper, or this one here, which you could die cut from your designer paper. And what you've got when you've done that more intricate one, here we'll put it on the white paper, is you've got this fun little, it looks like a bunch of fall leaves, doesn't it? This was die cut from the designer paper, so you layer it on like that, and you've got this beautiful fall leaf design. Now I know it's not fall, that's like on the opposite side of the year from us here, but some of you in the southern hemisphere are experiencing fall, aren't you? So I guess this is okay that I'm sharing it right now. The card that I'm going to be making does have kind of a fallish look to it, kind of masculine too, but it's also mostly the green leaf paper that I'm using. So where did I pull that beautiful multicolor paper from? From the flip side of these. So you've got your beautiful green leaves, your fall leaves, kind of a mixture of blue and multicolor leaves. I love this one. That one we'll be using in the card. And then we're going to be using this one too. Kind of, they match up, don't they? This one here, you cut it in half and then you cut it this way and you've got 6 card fronts instantly. Let's look at the flip side. In most of our designer packs of paper, you do get 12 sheets, 6 different double-sided designs. Okay, so here we have all green. We have kind of a the bark of the tree look. Then we have kind of a watercolor-ish wash, or alcohol wash even. It looks more like alcohol wash. Some tree or sky, I should say. Beautiful sky look. This is the one that I cut that set of that tree topper portion from. And then look, some winter trees. Oh, they look so pretty. I'm so done with winter, but that does look pretty. The colors that match Beauty of the Earth designer paper would be Bumblebee, Cajun Craze, Cinnamon Cider, Early Espresso, Mary Merlot, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Night of Navy, Old Olive, and Basic White. Okay, I know it says Whisper White, but it's Basic White. Let's go to answering Joan's question, and then we'll move on to making the card. And I got to show you measurements too, so I better pull those up so I don't forget. I get so caught up. Where are the measurements? Oh, I know where I have them. There we go. All right, so I'm set. I'm ready on the other end. This is the folded piece of paper that we did. Pretend it's all brayered, sponge brayered. It's just a scrap piece of paper from the copy from the printer. So you want to use printer paper like I mentioned last week. Then you fold this 2 3/4 inch paper in 8 pieces like that. Okay, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Of course, I've colored it and all that stuff. But now, after I've done the coloring and I've done the folding, I'm going to insert it into my punch. This is a very, very thick piece of paper now. Okay, it's 8 layers. Granted, it's copy paper or printer paper, but it's still thick. So I believe you could possibly do damage to your punch by doing this, but do you see how I'm putting it into the head of the punch here, or the head of the snowman, and I've got the point side down and the open side down or up, and then the point is kind of centered there. So I'm going to punch, but I'm going to do it real slowly. Oh, I guess it went quick. The other time I did it, it was super slow. It took a lot of effort to get it through. Maybe my punch got stronger from it. But I'm going to just remove that paper, that excess paper. I can do that later. But you can see that it's so thick it doesn't even fall out naturally. You kind of have to pull at it. But that would be a punch that you could use if you wanted to instead of hand cutting like I had shared last week. And then you would get a bunch of flowers that are similar in shape. So thanks, Joan, for asking that question. And this is the card that I had shared last week. It's so cool, isn't it? All right, let's move on to starting our project. So let me bring you to the computer. This is the list of supplies that you will need, but I do have a mistake in there. And I always forget to mention my Stampin' Pierce mat. So that's another supply that you could use. But I have a mistake. I have in here the woven threads sequin assortment. Do you see that right here? I lied. I didn't mean to lie. I'm using the Whale of a Time sequins. Both of them are retiring, by the way. But the Whale of the Time Whale of a Time sequins have the greenish color that I wanted. Now you could also use the Artistry Blooms sequins, which are self-adhesive, and kind of the yellowish design would work well on there too. But just know that I made a mistake there. Here are the measurements. I'm going to actually show you two cards. I have one card that is the main card. That's the one that's going to do the pop and flip. And then we're going to use the leftover pieces to make a secondary card so that you're not wasting that circular piece that's going to get die cut from the middle. All right, if you haven't taken a screenshot, just know that these supplies and measurements are going to be on my blog post at 12:15. So in about an hour, you'll be able to visit my blog post, which is listed in the description of the video. And you can head out over there and you can actually print off a PDF copy of what you're seeing right here on the screen. You can also look in the description right now while we're doing the live, and you can get a list of supplies. Let's go back to the table. And we are ready to begin. I'm going to move this off my screen though so that I can see comments rolling in. A corner rounder punch. I don't know, Jill. Just saw your question. Again, you're punching through a whole thick layer. I don't think the one corner rounder punch that Stampin' Up! Used to carry would work. I think it would be too weak to punch through all of those layers. So you're going to have to experiment, I guess, is what I'm going to answer up for that. But yeah, because a corner rounder punch, you wouldn't have to go in kind of the back doorway, right? All right, we're going to use Early Espresso for the base of our card. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that in half. It's 8.5 by 11, so cutting it in half, we're going to bring it to the 4 1/4 inch mark. And we're going to use our dark blade. Oh, this is my trimmer that isn't marked. That's okay. Our dark blade is the cutting blade. So we're going to slice. We have 2 card bases. We're going to turn it this way, and we're going to score at 5.5 inches. So now we're using the lighter blade, and we're scoring. I brought it to the 5.5 inch mark. I'm going to do that with this one too, because we're going to do the same card base for our second card, so we might as well have that one ready. So that will be set over here. We're going to take and fold this, use our bone folder, and give it a good crease. We've already pre-cut, or I have, a 4 inch by 5 1/4 inch piece of designer paper. This is pattern number 1 when you're looking at the list of supplies. We've also pre-cut the another piece of designer paper. This one is 1 1/4 inches by 4 inches. That's going to be for the inside of the card. And also on the inside, we're going to need another piece that is the same size as the designer paper. So 4 inches by 5 1/4. The inside of the second card is actually 4 1/2, so we can just leave this one as is. 4 1/2 by, I believe it was 3 1/4, but I better, no, it is 3 1/4. So the way that I got that measurement is 4 1/2 is 1 inch shorter than the longest length of the card. So I just took 1 inch down, and then I also went 1 inch in the opposite direction, so that when you look at this, it's going to be completely centered inside the middle of the card. So that middle piece is ready. And then for our second card, we'll also need a 4 by 4 piece of white. And then we'll need some scraps. So this will be left over for scraps that we're going to use for die cutting a circular piece and for die cutting a tree piece. So this goes on the inside along with our designer paper strip. And then these are for preparing right now. So we'll move our trimmer out of the way. We'll put it back on the table. It has a bunch of new products on it. And we're going to bring in our stamps. Okay, there we go. So we're going to take our stamps. We're going to use this tree. We're going to use this tree. And we're going to use this one. We're also going to be using these words and these words. So if you look on the box, you can kind of get an idea of what ones I'm using here. I believe it was, yeah, thinking of you, and then you truly inspire me are the words. So we're going to mount those onto our clear blocks. The longest tree actually can fit diagonally onto our D-size block. And then all of the rest of these fit real nice on our C-size block. So we have blocks in different sizes. And there we go. This one will fit diagonally. All right. Let's take, and I think this tree, nope, it won't fit on that one. That's going to become scrap. We don't need that. So let's stamp a tree. We're going to use colors that coordinate with the paper, which is why I mentioned those colors up front. We have the Early Espresso color, Mossy Meadow, and Old Olive. We're going to start with Early Espresso. The DSP is beautiful, isn't it, Karen? Or Kim, that's Kim. I see Torkelson at the end of your name. I know you, Kim. Hi, Kim. So we're going to stamp our tree down. Oh, you know what I forgot? The Stampin' Pierce mat. It does not come with this, by the way. I stick those on there, or I had them on there for when I used to teach classes in my home. We're just going to press as firm as we can and just pray that we'll get, because this is a more solid image. So the more solid the image is, yeah, that one worked. But the more you kind of want to have a firm foam surface underneath, okay? So just know that. Let's do the tree next. We'll just set this aside, and we'll bring in our tree that is more dense looking on our stamps. This one's going to be used for the darker color. This one's going to be used for the lighter color. So we'll use Old Olive for our lighter color. You could stamp off if you want to, but I found that the color was nice and rich and looked comparable to the designer paper colors when I did not stamp off. We'll zoom in a bit here. I'm just going to stamp this over here so you can see it first by itself, because it is a stunning image. Is that really cool? I love that. It's like two different tones within one stamp. All right, we're going to stamp that down here, and a lot of you are like, well, aren't you going to die cut that? And yes, I am. But it's okay. You can make the tree, and then I'll show you the little trick of die cutting it separately. So we've got our tree on top. We'll set that over here, and we'll open up our Mossy Meadow color, and we'll stamp that using the one that's not as intense, or not as dense. That's the word I wanted. So that one looks like this when stamped separately. Okay, and when we put that over the top, you can kind of try to line it up, but it's a tree. You don't have to if you don't want to. Just get as close as you can, and it still looks like a tree, right? So, all right, we're going to close that one up too. Those two ink colors we won't need anymore. I do have my Early Espresso on standby. Actually, we need it for the second card. I lied. So that's ready to die cut, and we're also going to die cut a circle. So let's bring in our layering circle dies. That's what these look like. Okay. Oh, that's really close. Sorry. Zoom out. That's what these look like. By the way, we have products that are leaving us right now from the current annual catalog. These are not one of them. These are staying, but we are seeing the layering ovals and the layering squares disappear. So if you want to nab them up, make sure you place an order before they go. I'm going to be using the two largest of the smooth outline circles. So when you're looking at them, this one I believe is like 2 7/8 or something. Let me measure for you. I'll let you know for sure. It's about 2 7/8, and this one is about 2 5/8 in diameter. So we're going to get two circles that we're going to layer on top of each other. This one we're going to cut out with the white, the smaller of the two, and then we're also going to die cut with the tree and the tree topper. We're first going to die cut with the tree topper piece. I'm going to bring in some sticky notes. In Minnesota here we use, we're very big into 3M products because 3M is based here in Minnesota. Gotta love 3M. All right, so, and then we'll die cut our circle, and that's okay if that shifts a little bit. Let's bring in our machine. Good, we're zoomed out still. And we're just gonna layer this onto our sandwich. So a sandwich basically is how you layer your mats or your pads or whatever on your die cutting machine. This is our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's fairly new and so cool. And it's so pretty. We're going to start with 1, which is the main platform. Then we're going to have 2 because you need that for when you're doing thin dies like we're doing here. And then we need 3, which is our cutting plate. The one that's more cut up is the one I always keep on the bottom. And then I have another one that's on the top. So 3 and 3. You have your cardstock and your dies in between, so they're sandwiched in there. And then you guide it in so it's pretty even, and you start cranking. We're good. And we'll open this and pull these pieces off. First we'll just peel this away. And we've got the top of our tree. And then we've got our circle. And then we're going to bring it back through, but we're going to layer the trunk on next. Okay, so you're just going to line that up. And that looks pretty good. We'll put our Post-it note back over the top. Because we're putting it over the top, we can reuse it a few more times before it kind of wears out. And then we'll send it back on through, making sure it's lined up. That cracking sound that you hear is normal because it's the machine is working. It's cutting through the paper, and it sometimes cuts into the cutting mat, which is expected. So there's the trunk of our tree. I didn't do it exactly because I'm not hovering right over the top of it. Sorry about that. But it was close enough. So this becomes scrap, although we've got 2 pretty tree pieces here that we can die cut later. Let's bring in this piece. We're going to layer this on top of our early espresso. I'm just going to do that real quickly with our seal adhesive. So we'll just run that adhesive. Oh, and we're going to run it, I forgot to mention this, you'll want to run it all the way around because we're going to die cut from the center of the front of our card. So we're going to layer that or run that all the way around. Oh, come on. Don't fail on me now. It could be that I'm just not on a flat, firm surface here. Let's try this again. Oh, it's stopping on me. You guys. Oh, I'm getting a different seal. That one's having issues. All right, we're running our seal. Gotta have something that goes wrong in a live, right? We're going to run that all the way around, and on the 2 sides here I want to be as close to the edge as possible. Sorry, it's not a pretty little seam of adhesive on there, but you want to go as close to the edges as possible because we're going to use our larger die, and we're going to die cut from the center of our paper. So let's add that to the front, and this will go into our machine now with our largest of the 2 circles. It's not supposed to happen. All right, so let's angle our paper in here. I'm just going to feed the front or the inside of the card base in first. And then we'll place this, oops, make sure I get the larger of the 2. The larger of the 2 on top. And I kind of want to have the same amount that I see here on the sides as I have on the top. And then I'll use my Post-it note to hold it and kind of keep it in place here. And line everything up, and we'll crank it on through. Oops. There we go. This is a nice machine to have. If you don't have a die cutting machine, put it on your wish list. We even have a smaller version. This is our big boss, or big stamp and cut and emboss machine, and we have a mini boss or little boss. So now that we've die cut that circle, you can see that we have two pieces here. This one we're going to keep for this card. This one we're going to use for the other card, that bonus card. Okay. For our tree that's going to go in the center of our circle, we're just going to adhere this straight onto our card base, and I'm just going to use a little bit of the multi-purpose liquid glue. Just give it a little strip of that there. And then this will go, and it's a circle, so you can really put it wherever you want, right? Actually, you know what? Let's do this first. Don't put that on first. I lied. This is going to go on first. We're going to put a couple dimensionals here. And I'm doing this fast because it's drying on me. That is going to go first onto the front. Then we're going to take this piece and we're going to connect it, but kind of underneath a little bit there so that the trunk looks like it's flowing into the rest of the tree. And here I'm going to zoom in. But this part is sticking out more. This is further back. It just kind of gives it more of a 3D look, but it looks like it still flows because you don't see that separation unless you were to angle it this way, right? Now we can just take and trim off with paper snips that excess because we don't need that. And stick that onto our scrap over here because that's now garbage. Okay. Now we're going to work on the inside piece. So this is going to go on next. We're going to grab our seal adhesive and just put a couple pieces of adhesive there. That's going to go along the bottom of our white layer that goes on the inside of the card. And now I feel I'm zoomed in too far again. Hang on. Okay, that's going to go there. We're going to stamp the sentiment that says "you truly inspired me." You could pick any of the phrases that come in there, but I want to make sure that I'm not going too far up. So I'm going to go about this far, which leaves me the upper half of that card to have my tilted or flipped piece sitting there. So now this goes on the inside. This will go next, and then we can add the pop and flip section of our card. So this will go on like this. And you have to add that before you add the mechanism that will pop up your card. Let's bring in the trimmer again. Yeah, I needed it again, I forgot. And now we need to have some extra early espresso. Thank goodness I'm in my room. All right, I'm just going to grab a scrap here. You might recognize that scrap. Do you remember when I made that card? We're going to cut a piece that is 4 inches by 2 1/4 inches. There we go. Now I chose this size, or this width, I should say, because my circular piece that's going to pop and flip, I wanted it to be narrower than that amount, but I didn't want it to be too narrow either where it doesn't have stabilization. So this is going to be the part that supports your, and here, let me find one of those finished cards. It's the part that supports your piece that's going to wobble. You can see on this card it's slightly wider, so you wouldn't have to have it be 2 1/4. This one I believe is probably 3 inches. Yep, that one's 3 inches by 4, because all of these are 1-inch score lines there. And this one, oh, that one's also 3. So I chose 2 1/4 because I still felt like it kept it stable enough. So I'm just going to go with it. It works. So now what you're going to do is you're going to score that piece every inch along the way here. So we have a score line at 1, 2, and at 3 inches. This here could also be adjusted. It depends on the size of your card. So if you're making your pop and flip piece come down even further on your card, especially on a vertical card, 1 inch width here is not going to work. but a 1-inch width will work on this one because, as you can see, you're going to have a little bit here where you're going to be able to have it, you know, it has to at least be this plus a little bit more. Okay? So if your circle or your oval is further down, then make this part wider, each of these wider. Something else that I noticed when I was experimenting with this is it doesn't work with a square if the square is going, you know, the normal way a square would. It probably would work with a diamond. I didn't check that, but the curvature of the shape here that's popping and flipping has to be able to go in and out of this edge here smoothly. And with a square, it was catching on the corners. So we have that piece cut, and then we also need one other piece, and that piece needs to be 3/4 of an inch wide by 2 inches. And this could be adjusted too. It does not have to be exact. And this one we're going to score right down the middle at 1 inch. Okay, now we'll move these scraps out of the way. So let's grab our bone folder and give this a good crease on all of those score lines. We're making this, you know, kind of a rectangular prism look here, right? We're going to score here. And then we're going to use tear and tape adhesive. And got a nice fresh roll here. We're going to apply tear and tape on one end. That's the reason it's called tear and tape, because you can just apply it and tear it. I sometimes like to cut it though. It just, I don't know, I like doing that. I'm also going to apply the tear and tape along this edge here. And then, this is where it comes to cutting, because I don't know if I can get it that small by tearing. I'm going to have a couple other pieces that are super small, and they're going to go up along the sides here. Okay, so let's just add those like that. So this is more of a U shape, and these can go, you know, over the whole section of that part right there. On this one here, I'm going to add, there it is. I'm going to add a couple pieces on either side. Sorry. You can hear our heater. It's cold here. We have snow again in Minnesota, you guys. It's okay. It's to be expected in April. We are in April, right? Yeah. April, we get all kinds of fun weather. Okay, so we have those pieces. And we have the other ones that I prepared. Where'd they go? Oh, right here. This is the card. Okay, so we're going to add this. And this is where the take your pick tool comes in handy. You can easily slide underneath. So you just come up like that and grab it. Especially if you've got painted fingernails, it's kind of hard to lift up the release paper on the tear and tape adhesive without something a little pokier. Fingernails that are painted are so thick. So we're going to fold this in half like that so that this exposed tape is going to be slid into the inside of our card like that. We're not going to take off the backing on this yet because we don't want it to stick yet in that direction. Right now we want this to align with the inside score line of our card. And so when we do that, we're going to press down like that and give it a score. And then we're going to open it up, and now we can peel off the backings on these pieces and attach. So one thing to know, when you've got a card that's got some extra bulk on the inside, it's better to be able to close the card all the way so it fits into an envelope than to be able to open it all the way in the other direction. So it's not going to be able to open up flat like this anymore once we stick these two pieces together. It's just the science of small, tiny, micro inches, the way it works. See, we can't open it up all the way because it's just, yeah, because there's bulk in there now. So accept it. This is now going to sit on top of this. But in order to attach it, we're going to attach it with the flipping part. Okay, this is the part that's going to allow our circle to kind of flip forward when we open the card. So we're going to peel off the backing on one side again. And we're going to attach that to our shelf, the part that pops up, the pop-up piece. So we're going to fold that in half. And we're going to attach it to the middle, like that. Okay, and it's sitting on the 1-inch portion. You might even see that it's got kind of a little bit of an extra edge to it. That's not going to be noticed. You can trim it if you want to, but it doesn't matter, okay? Then we'll peel off the backing on these two pieces, and my fingernails aren't painted, so I'm going quickly here. This needs to get added to the inside of our card. I'm going to line up the circle without attaching it first. So I'm carefully lining up the bottom portion of the circle and the sides here. So it's lining up, and then I can stick it down. Now it is popping and flipping. Isn't that cool? I love that. I don't know if Dawn got that idea from someone else or if she came up with it, but thank you, Dawn, again. So awesome. This just gets added to this circle like that. And then we add a few sequins. So these are the two sequins. I've got the woven threads and I've got the Whale of a Time sequins. These sequins, which I love way too much because they're already self-adhesive and I go through them like mad. They're the Artistry Bloom sequins. These are carrying over into the new catalog. So we could add them or we could add these. I'm gonna, because this one doesn't, the woven threads is what I listed. I'm so sorry, you guys. I will change that. But yes, I would say use little drops of glue to add your sequins. So we're just going to add a little tiny drop here. If I can see where I'm going. There we go. Just a tiny, tiny, I mean, it's super tiny, right? Kind of microscopic. There you go. You can see it. And then we'll use the sticky end of our piece here. I think I'm going to have to dump some of these so I can find them better. There we go. There's one. A green sequin right into that spot like that. Okay, I'm going to show you the finished one that I already did with that, but first let's go ahead and do the bonus card. That one comes together very quickly. So for this one, we're going to use dimensionals. That will be the part that slows us down, is finding things on this now messy desk. It's crazy. You make one card and all of a sudden it's like a tornado came through, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate. I'm one of those people though that I like to keep it clean. So after every project that I make, or after every second project or whatever, I try to clean up. I don't know, that's just me. For this piece, I always tell you guys to stamp first if you can, and then adhere. So let's do that. Let's be wise. We're inking up our Thinking of You stamp, and we're going to stamp that. I want to make sure I'm copying my first. Yep. We're going to stamp that down here in the lower right corner of that 4x4 white. And we didn't mess up, so we can go ahead and add that to... I'm having seal problems today, you guys. I haven't had seal problems since they first came out. I don't know. We're going to add that to the front, and we're going to make sure that it's hiked up real well so that we have 1/8 of an inch all the way around on those three sides. This piece is now going to go underneath, and if I feel like I can't have a thin piece of brown there, I can bring back my trimmer and I can trim off just a little bit here, but I think we're good. I think we've got enough exposed, and that's just going to go down like this, but it's going to give us an illusion that I've got some brown or early espresso cardstock going through the center there by just separating those two pieces. On the inside of our card, we're going to have our trees, or our tree, I should say. So we'll stamp this guy like that. And then we'll bring back those two green inks. Super quick card, but a great way to use that leftover circular piece that we had to die cut from our first card. Stamp that down again. Rachel, you are forgetting this thing. This does make it easier. The Stamp and Pierce mat. Gotta love it. It sits right here next to my projects. You'd think I would remember it. Okay, so that's done. I think I mentioned this last week or the week before. If it was just a little bit wider, I would just naturally keep it underneath my grid paper right here. I would just keep it underneath there and mention it, right? When I used to do in-person classes, I didn't want people to accidentally stamp wrong, so I used fun foam, or those foam sheets, and I put those underneath the grid paper. Kind of did the same thing, but I like the Stamp and Pierce mats because they're thicker and you can actually put things on them and then pierce through. So the last step is just to take these lovely trees and make sure that they're going in the right direction. Look at the branches on your trees and center that and add some sequins. So now I'm going to show you the finished cards that I did add the sequins to. So this is the one that's the pop and flip that I made for you guys earlier before this recording. And then here's the finished one with the other sequins. So there we go. And I'm just going to open this up so you can see the inside. Gives you kind of an idea of all that we created here today. So fun, fun, fun. I love it. And let's see if I can find the right one here. If you do need to shop for some of these products, just know that there are 3 items in here that are not available yet. It's the stamp set, the dies that go with those stamps, and the paper. Those will be available May 4th. But also know that the, what was the name of the sequins? This one. The Whale of a Time sequins are going to retire. So if you need to nab them up before they leave, please do so. All the other products are currently available, and none of them are retiring, at least not that I'm aware of. I'm going to place that right there for now. What else do I want to tell you before we move on to prize winners? Reminder for last chance items, yes. So you have now until May 3rd to get your hands on those items that are leaving. If you are not familiar with the last chance product sales that are going on, I'm going to bring you to my computer here. Let me pull that away. You're going to see a bunch of tabs here. I'm going to remove that. View. We don't need to see all of that. That's a lot of stuff. Okay, here we go. So if you go to my website at stampyourartout.com, there we go, stampyourartout.com, and you go to, well, you could do what's new, but you just go to a blog post. Any recent blog post will get you there. So just click on my blog, and it's moving, it's scrolling. And then when you get to the blog post, you're going to scroll to the bottom. This is when I shared a bunch of cards from my teammates. So at the very bottom of every post, so after my signature here, do you see that right here? You're going to scroll down, and this is where you can see all the latest news going on. This is where you can get that information on the last chance products. You can also just go to shop, and you click the shop button, and it'll take you to the online store, or you go to stampinup.com, and you'll be able to see what's new. Let's see here. Sales and specials. Last chance products is right up in there, so you'll be able to shop from the last chance items that way too. Okay, back to the desk. Sorry about that, everyone. I think that is it. So let's bring in the prizes that we will be drawing for today. Actually, let's bring in the prizes from last week first so you can see what last week's winner gets to pick from. So we had 2 winners drawn last week, but one has not claimed their prize yet. The winner that I've chosen for the after-live comments then gets a choice because the live winner did not claim their prize yet. It makes me sad when that happens because I end up with extra stuff, you guys. Let me see if I can shout out that person's name. Marlene N. You were drawn last week, so if you did not reach out to me yet, my email address, is this the one? Yep. So reach out to me, Marlene N. You were a live winner last time last week. You commented and got drawn. Okay, so the two winners. I have another winner that I've drawn from the Afterlife comments. You get to choose from Kit Leftovers. This is from the Gorgeous Posies card kit, and this is basically from the medley, the boho. Forgot the name of it. It's a kit that's in the main catalog that's leaving. Shoot, you guys. You'll tell me, won't you? I'll look it up. It is this one right here, Boho Indigo. Yes, I knew there was blue in there somewhere. I was going to say Boho Blue. Like, no, that doesn't work. So, who is the winner from last week's comments, last week's video and the Afterlife comments? It looks like her name is pronounced Safia Suchen or Sukin. So reach out to me, either one of you. You get one of those prizes. Okay, what are the prizes for the winners of the live this time? Well, we do have leftover prizes all the time because people don't claim them. So I have tons of stamp sets to pick from. A couple of these were even donated by some people on my team. It was so sweet of them. They just had some extra stamps laying around. Who has that, right? But I have the Punch Party set. I have the Corner Bouquet. I have Heal Your Heart. I have the Hey Chick, slightly older version of the stamp set, but still a current one, actually. Darling Donkeys, Approaching Perfection, and From All of Us, which is actually a current set going into the new catalog. So I'm going to peek back to see if Trisha has drawn the winners. She probably has. She has. Yay. Congratulations to Patty Gorton and, sorry, I have to peek really close, and Denise Welch. So congratulations to both of you. Reach out to me, and she did post my email address, but I'll just put that up there again so that you can claim your prize. Just reach out to me via email and let me know which prize you want. And then the Afterlive, we will draw commenters from the Afterlive comments next week. Okay, so if you're watching this between now and next week, then leave a comment. Smash that like button. What else? Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love it if, oops, wrong one. I would love it if you were to subscribe and follow my videos. If you subscribe, you actually get notifications, I believe, when I go live, so that will help. Boy, it's getting bright. We're having some sun come out of the windows here. I think that's all I wanted to share with you today. Next week, I will go live again on April 21st at 11 a.m. Central Time. Let's give a big round of applause to Trisha. Trisha, thank you so much for being there for me and for everyone else to help guide us along in these lives. And so I hope that you'll join me next week, 11 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday. That's it. So now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye, everyone.